Good afternoon, friends. So, welcome to Pro Talent, and we will be continuing this session on percentages. But before I continue with this session, there is an announcement which I want to make, and that is about the practice material. So, friends, now onwards, right? You would be getting even a practice material on protalentdigital.com. So friends, you have to visit the website of protalentdigital.com and you have to sign up over there. After that, you will be in position to get the PDFs as a practice material. Okay, friends. So by today, up to today evening, you will be in a position to access the PDFs. All right. Okay. Now coming to our today's session. Friends, today I have come up with the questions which will actually require a lot of thinking part. Yes, friends. Maybe the question is lengthy. Maybe the way we are representing, the information or the instruction on the paper, right? So many small factors would be there, which will be playing a very crucial role. Okay. So today's questions would be on percentage, but with a that click thing, right? When we read a question, how to interpret the question, and then coming to the solution, right? So we'll be like focusing. So today the questions, though they are on percentages, but it's going to be more on the application side of it. Okay, so you may find the questions or the session a little bit heavy today, but it is required, right? If you go through such questions, you will be in a much more comfortable position to solve the questions with respect to percentage. Okay, so this is the thing which I wanted to say, and something which I generally don't say in my sessions, but today I had made it a point that I'll be saying it, and that is when you are done with the sessions, right? Okay, then you share the link, you give the likes. I already see that before I start the sessions, I get the likes, right? But still, recommend to your friends, because the purpose why I'm taking this session over here live is very simple, that I make mathematics as an aptitude part as simple as possible, with a pure intention that I reach to and help as many students as possible, right? So because of that, you recommend your friends and share the links, and also that this purpose with which I'm taking the session gets served. Okay, fine. So this is what I want to request you all, right? Thank you so much for the response, right? So this is what we want. Okay, fine. All right. So let's start with today's agenda. I hope everyone is like online now. Yes. Okay. So to begin with, yesterday in the previous session, right, we had stopped on a question. How many of you have done that question? Give me the answer. Right? So this was the question. Those who are the newcomers, right? For them, you should pause this question, video, and then try to solve it. Only see a very beautiful question. A very beautiful question. I really love this kind of question where it's not calculations, but it's more the application. Okay. So yes, tell me who has solved this question. I want to see the answer. Yes, answer please. So none of you solved it? Or you couldn't solve it? You tried but you couldn't solve it? Yes. See, the more you respond through chats, this session becomes more productive. Shivam, yes, Shivam, Amitesh, right? These are the two people I've identified so far that in the first go, they are always correct, except it's a typo error, right? They're always correct. Yes, Shivam, 125 is the right answer. Let's see. Those who tried but couldn't get. So the solution is for them. Okay. So 80% of the weight of fresh dates is consumed by water. So, and they are kept in a drying room, and after drying them sufficiently, it turns out that only 20% of the weight is constituted by water. Okay. So see, if I take, the fresh dates and once I dry, whatever the solid matter is there, right, it's going to remain as it is. It's not going to further change. Sorry, this is what we mean by the solid matter, right? So when I had this 5 kg of fresh dates, then 80% of the fresh dates is consumed by water. So what was the solid part of it? It was 20% of 500, right? And how much is that? 20% is of 500 is 100 kg, right? So out of 500, right, I am getting 100 kg as a solid thing. But then they kept it drying room, and after drying them sufficiently, it turns out that only 20% of the weight constituted by water, right? 20%. Okay. So again, in that also 80% was the solid, but we have already got the solid part. So whatever the dry, the dates which we were having it, right? It has to be what? Say if that is what is asked. So if I take it, say 80%, which is 4 by 5 of whatever the dates we have been asked for, it has to be equal to 100 kg, because this has been given as the 80% of this water, so 20% is the solid of 500 kg, and hence X turns out to be 5 by 4 of 100 kg, which turns out to be 125 kg. Now, many people, many of you may get stuck with the process. Ma'am, how is it possible? Already we have dried was, and now 100 is becoming 125 kg. We don't have to get into the process part of it. We have to just understand that once what we have got the solid. Again, when we went to the the drying room, and when we over there, the statistic is saying that 80% of the thing, whatever the thing is, there is 80% is solid. But we already got the solid is 100 kg. So what was the the weight of the dried grapes? I'm sorry, the dried dates. Okay, and that turns out to be 125 kg. I hope I am clear enough with respect to this question. This is really a beautiful question. I tell you, one of my favorite questions. If you get such question, it's nothing about calculation. It's more about the understanding of the thing. Okay, fine. Sure. So we are done with this question. Let's move on to the next question. Right? A typical percentage question, right? In an election between two candidates, Bhiku gets 65% of the total valid votes. Here we have to be very careful with the language. And when it comes down to votes, there are three things. Total number of votes, then there will be, valid or invalid votes, and the distribution of the valid votes. Okay, fine. These three concepts are clear in your mind, then you are always going to find such kind of questions very comfortable. That is, you can solve it very comfortable, because now what is left is, that is, you have to play with the numbers, right? So, fine. So, the concept which I have in my mind is very simple, that I should know the total number of total number of votes, or the voters list number of names. Out of that, how many are valid, right? Because the distribution is going to be of the votes among the contestants would be from the pool of valid votes only. So if this process is clear, you are done. Okay, so let's go with this. So Bhiku gets 65% of the total valid votes. If the total votes were 6,000, what is the number of valid votes the other candidate? Okay, what is the other candidate, Mhatre, gets if 25% of the votes were declared invalid, right? Fine. So, here we know that 25% invalid, so 6,000, 25% is 1/4, equivalent fraction thing. So, you have to remove that is 1,500. Then I am left with what? I am left with 4,500 valid votes. Out of this 4,500 valid votes, Bhiku gets 65%. So the other person is getting 35%. So instead of finding 65% and then subtracting from 4,500 and then coming to the answer, you should straightway find 35%. So you could have done it in this method also. 3,500 and then you subtract 2 and then you do 45 into 35, right? And then over here we apply the method, right, of cross multiplication, right? How do we do that? 5 5s are 25, 5 4s are 20, 3 5s are 15, so 15 plus 20, 35 plus 2, 37, right? 4 3s are 12 plus 3, 15. So I'm getting 1575 as the answer. Yes, Amitesh? You are right with the answer. Fine. So this is one way of doing it. Another way of finding the percentage would have been that, okay, 30%, right? So 10% is 450. If you are comfortable with the table, you have straightway calculated it. Fine. Is this very comfortable, right? So this question was more like a warm up for those who are doing it for the first time. Let's move to the next question. Yes, so again a typical question, right? Where the flow chart matters a lot. How comfortable mentally you represent. Today again in this particular question, the concept is very simple, right? Fine, but the way you represent or the method of solving, I would show you the different ways of solving this question. First of all, go through the question and giving you 20 seconds, and then together we will be solving this question. Right? So take your time in reading the question. No need to solve. If you are comfortable, you solve, no problem. Otherwise, together I'll be showing you the different ways of solving this question. Yes, Raj. Aditya Panchal is there. Aditya Mathur is there. Everyone should give the answer. Why only 4 or 5 people give the answer? Alright, let's see. So in a mixture of 80 liters of milk and water, 25% of the mixture is milk. So you know what I do first of all, okay, this is 80 liters. Here is the milk, here is the water, and 25% of mixture is milk. So I am getting 20 liter as milk and 60 liters as water. A standard way of representing it. Okay, fine. So that whatever the information we have to take out from this representation, we can. Now question is, how much water should be added to the mixture so that milk becomes 20% of the mixture? Okay. So what many of the students they do is that, okay, so they are adding some water. Already we are having some water. We are adding some water. But since it is 20% of the mixture, they just write over here 80, which should be nothing but 20%. And here we are making mistake, that is when we are there adding some amount of water, then the mixture still doesn't remain 80 liter. Okay. If I have added 10 liters, so now the mixture is of 90 liter. If I have added 20 liter, now the mixture is of 100 liter. So this is one of the most common mistake which students do. Okay. So share that part right now. When it comes down to the solving part of it, right? Okay. So, one of the easiest thing which you can remember over here, that see what we are adding is water. Milk is remaining untouched. Are we adding milk in the mixture? No, right? We are adding water. So, one method could have been that in the earlier mixture it was 20 liter. In the new mixture, even after adding water, milk is 20 liter. But the percentage game is changing. Now it is becoming 20% of the mixture. So can I say that 20%, I should write 1 by 5 ideally. 20% of the mixture is 20 liters. It means that this X 20%, okay, let me not write X, let me write mixture. So 20% of the mixture, right, is having 20 liter of milk. So it means that what the mixture is of how much quantity? 100 liter. I'm sorry. 100 liter, right? But I was having the mixture of 80 liter and it turned out to be 100 liter. It means that I have added 20 liter water to it. One of the method. Now the second way of doing the same question would have been that of putting milk as it is, I am having 80 liter of mixture plus I am adding some water. Okay, I am adding some water over here, and this milk to the mixture is becoming 1 by 5, or that is 20%. This percent, and here also when you will be multiplying it, you will see that 20 into 5 is 100, which is 80 plus water. So 100 is equal to 80 plus water, means water is 20 liters. You would have done this thing with respect to water as well. That would have been really complicated, but I think that is the third method generally strikes with most of the students, and that third method is that since we are adding water, so what they will be doing is writing 60 liters we are having it, we are adding some water, and already the mixture is of 80 liter, we added some water, and now this water over here, you don't have to write now 20% because now the ratio is of water to the mixture, right? And the ratio of water to the mixture is 80% because 20% is the milk, right? So over here you have to be very careful. You should write ideally 4 by 5. Clear? So see, the same question, multiple way of interpreting it. Till your concepts, till your fundamentals, or till the interpretation of the question is correct, you're always going to land up with the right answer. This is what is the beauty of maths. Yes, friends, as far as the aptitude is concerned, and when it comes down to solving the question, what clicks to you first is the shortcut for you, right? There is never the shortcut. There is never the shortcut for a particular question. Okay, friends? Alright. So, let's move further now. Moving on to the next question. Yes. I'm giving you 90 seconds to solve this question. Okay? Solve this question. Thirty seconds left. Yes, friends. What is the answer? Very good. Fine. So in an examination, 48% of the students. So here you can see that the question is of percentage, but with the bit of concept we should know of Venn diagram, right? Fine. So in an examination, 48% students failed in Hindi and 32% failed in history and 20% failed in both the subjects. So, writing like this. So yes, friends, here, what the biggest mistake what we do is that while writing, okay, so in Hindi, 48%. So we write it 48% over here. And this is wrong, right? Because it is not only Hindi. It is 48% Hindi. Okay, fine. So that's why I said the percentage is such a beautiful topic. It gels with all other topics, right? So here we are taking, so 48% Hindi and then 32% are in history and 20% failed in both. Okay. So the total number of, whether you fail in Hindi or you fail in history or you fail in both, you fail. Okay, fine. So here in Hindi, how many people are there? Right, just Hindi, 28%, and over here it is going to be 12%. Fine. So in total, the number of people who are failing, right, who are the failures, maybe in one subject or two subjects, right? Then that is 60 out of 100. They are the 60. So can I say that 40% out of 100, 40 people passed in both the subjects, but out of 100, right, 40 people. But what has been the information given to us is that if the number of students who passed examination was 880, right, then what was the original number of students? And yes, this turns out to be, if we do the multiplication, cross multiplication over here, right, then this is going to be 2200. Clear? Fine. All right. Okay. I hope all of you are getting the right answer over here. Fine. Let's move on to the next question. I'm giving you 90 seconds to solve this question and then we will be doing this question together. Thirty seconds left. Yes, I hope you people are ready with the answer. Still, I have not received the answer. You all can read what I am writing over here. Okay, fine. Right. So, what would have been the ideal approach to such kind of question? 10% of yes, Ivnesh, your option is C. Amitesh, this time I have missed the option, but fine. Okay, fine. Let's now focus on the question then. 10% of Mexico's population migrated to South Asia. 10% of the remaining migrated to America. So, whenever such values are there, right, I would prefer to take it either 100 or 10 because it is a population, right? So, then I would be like preferring that had it been the, the population of Mexico as 1000, right? Fine. Then in that case, 10% moved to South Asia. So, how many people have moved to South Asia then? 100, right? 10% of the remaining migrated to America. Remaining. So, now we are having 900 people in Mexico. From 900 people, 10%. So, it means that to America, right? How many people have moved? 90 people. And 10% of the rest have moved to Australia. So now I am having how many people in Mexico? 810 people. 900 minus 90, 810 people. Out of 810, 81 people, right? And this is, I mean, those who have been practicing the questions of the interest, compound interest and all, right? They know 10%, right? Every time you reduce, then it will be 72.9 on 100. So if you remember that, straight away you can do the question. If not, okay, if you give a total to this, then the total is going to be how much? 201. 271 people have migrated to the different parts of the world, and the number of people left in Mexico, right? They are how many? Right, 729. Now, if the female population which was left in Mexico remained only this, find the population of Mexico City before migration and its effect if it is given that before the migration the female population was half the male population and this ratio did not change even after the migration. Yes, friends. So here this is what is going to be very important, right? That even up in if I talk about the migration, the ratio earlier was also 2 males, 1 female, right? And after the migration also it remained that. So can I say that 1/3, right? 1/3 of the population from here, right? Okay, let me not confuse it over here. So 271 people, right? They have like moved. So how many are going to be the females over here? 1/3 of 729. That is going to be how much? 243, right? So 243 females are there in out of the population of 1000. Okay. So, but what the figure? So can I say that if the population was 1243 females were there, but actually the females are 3,64,500. So what is the population, right? Okay. So here when you do this thing, so what you are going to get the answer? 243. Okay. So here you if you do this calculation, 3,645,000 into 1000 upon 243, you are going to get the population and the answer is 15 lakhs. Okay, it is not this. Friends, you have to understand this one thing. You now you can figure it out where you are wrong. Amitesh and Jaya, can you just let me know which point you missed out because of which both of you landed with the option A? And both of you have done the same mistake. I know that. Okay, for rest of the people, you can see that, right? Yes, Shivansh. Right, so you can see that the question is lengthy. How patiently while reading itself, okay, how patiently, while reading the question itself, if we start understanding and calculating at the same time, the questions are going to be really easy. But at the same time, you should be very clear, right? See what happens many times, oh my god, such a big question. Let me read, see what it is all about. And then second time we read. And then the third time we try to figure it out. By that time already 45-50 seconds we have wasted. This is how we are going to save the time. Okay, fine. Alright. Let's move on to the next question. Typical question. A very typical question. Okay, so I'm giving you 90 seconds. Please solve this question. Yes, Amitesh and Jay, I told you, both of you have made the same mistake. You took it the same ratio. Fine. Now focus on this question. Thirty seconds left. Alright. Fine. So let me check how many of you are ready with the answer. Yes. Shivam, if you write 5 times B, it is not going to guarantee it, okay? Even if you write 1 time B or 5 times B. If the B is answer, B is answer. Alright? Fine. I think we need to work on this. Still I haven't got the right answer. Oh no. Sivanesh is there. I think he is right with the answer. He is with the correct answer. Alright. Let's say now. So in a village, so here this is, I came up with this question, right? Where, I could see where I wanted you people, to focus on the way, the technical, the theory part. Okay, it was all about the representation. That's it, right? Because most of us belong to the commerce, the background. So handling the equations and interpreting, then solving it and getting into X, Y, Z. No, ma'am. But let's see how simple such kind of questions are, because here we have to just represent the way they have asked. That's it. We don't have to even, apply anything from our side. Let's go with the question. In a village consisting of P persons, X percent can read and write. Okay. Of the males alone, Y percent, and of the females alone, Z percent can read and write. Okay. Find the number of males in the village in terms of P, X, Y and Z if Z is less than Y. Okay, let me see. Okay, so to start with, the population is P and we are taking it as the total of male plus female. Okay, basic. Now, if we see about the literate people who can read and write, over here the literate people, the definition would be read and write. The X% of the people, right? X% of P has to be the same as Y% of male plus Z% of a female. Okay, ma'am. Now we wanted that males in terms of P, X, Y. You have introduced one M, one F. Now what to do? So the variable which we have introduced, we have to remove that. We want just M. Okay. So what I am going to do is, I am going to remove F. Can I write? Okay. Can I write this thing as Px upon 100 is equal to Y upon 100 M plus, instead of writing F, can I write this thing as P minus M? I can. I introduce a value, I introduce a variable F, so I am removing the variable F now. Okay, fine. So this is what is there. I can also, because in denominator you can see everywhere 100 is there, I can remove 100 straight away, and hence now the equation is Px is equal to Ym plus Pz minus Zm. And I want M in terms of rest of the variables. So what I'm going to do the next step now, I'm going to just put all those, what do you call, all those values where M is there on one side and rest on the other side. Okay. So I'm going to take it Px minus Pz because it is independent of M, and I take M common over here. So what I'm getting is Y minus Z, and hence see, I have arrived with the answer. X minus Z upon Y minus Z is equal to M. Right? And ma'am, you didn't use this information about Z is less than Y. Why this is given? Was it required? Yes. Now can you see why it is required? Because Y is, if Z is less than Y, then only this is going to be, otherwise you would be getting the negative value. Maybe. So it was compulsory in that way to give this condition. Okay. So what is going to be the answer? The answer is going to be D. Clear? Is it clear to everyone? Why rest of the people who are watching, they are not interacting and giving me the answer? If it is wrong, let it be wrong, because the way you'll be putting this, the answers, I can figure it out what kind of mistakes you are coming up with. Yes, friends, many a times we can do that. Okay, fine. Let's move on. So you can see that, this looks very complicated the way I am writing it, but it is not. The very crucial part was just this much, where we had to represent F in terms of male and the population, so that in the next step, male one side, rest of the things would have come into P, X, Y and Z. This is what is the approach. So this is a typical question which needs this kind of mindset. So most of the time, if such question is there and if this kind of mindset you have, very easily you can solve the question. Okay, fine. Moving on to the next question. Yes, Shivanesh, it needs lot of practice. I am giving you 60 seconds for this question. 60 seconds are over. Yes. So how do you find this question? Is it difficult? Is this question difficult? No, you cannot have two options as answer, okay? Nayan, Amitesh, Shivam, Jaya. Okay, fine. Let's see how to go about it. Okay, so in an assembly election at Surat, the total turnout was 80%, out of which the total turnout was 80%. Okay, out of which 16% of the total voters on the voting list declared invalid. Okay, see, so 80% turned up, so 20% haven't turned up, plus 16%, so 20 people have not given the the vote, plus very clearly mentioned that 16% of the people mentioned in the voter list. It is not going to be 16% of 80, those who have appeared. It is exclusive. Here the language played a very important role. So 16. So can I say that 36 votes were invalid? So the valid votes, right, as a total is going to be how much? 64. Out of it, and there are three contestants. Okay, there are three contestants. Out of which, right, very clearly mentioned that the winner of the election, the candidate who came second, got 20% of the total voters on the voting list. So, irrespective of the calculation, one thing is for at least 20%, there's a difference. So, even if I say that the third contestant is not getting even a single vote, the second contestant got 20, the minimum, the difference had to be maintained. Even in that case, the winner is going to get 44. So the max valid votes, actually it should not be 44, it should be a bit less. Because 20% is getting and declared, right? But okay, fine. Let's keep the life very simple. So the winner max possibility would have been of getting 44 votes. Okay? Not beyond that. Less than 44 acceptable. But max to max the winner can get just 44. And hence our option is going to be just D. Right? Welcome Arihant on the 7th question. Right? So our answer is going to be option D. Right? No calculation required. It was purely the game of language. Okay? Fine? Alright. Let's move on to the next question. Okay? I'm giving you 90 seconds for this question. Thirty seconds left. Yes. Yes, Amitesh, it was, yes, 80% turned up. So here it was like 20% of the people didn't turn up, right? And those 16% people was exclusively of the, again, the original voter list only. That is how the data was given. Okay. So that is what I said, that here it was the beauty of the language, right? Anyways, so Aditya Mathur, which question? Question number 8. Please mention the question number so that it will be easy for me. Let's see. There are 3 galleries in a coal mine. On the first day, 2 galleries are operative, and after some time the third gallery is made operative. With this, the output of the mine became half as large as again. Right? So, on the first day when the 2 galleries were operating, right, and when the third gallery came, so it means half large as again. So, the contribution of both the remains the same, in the sense that the first and the second is giving me the equivalent value as the third one, half large as again. Now, with this, output of the mine became half as large as again. What is the capacity of the second gallery as a percentage of the first? Second as a percentage of the first, if it is given that 4-month output of the first and the third gallery, 4-month output of the first and the third gallery was the same as the annual output of the second gallery, as the output of the second annual, right? So if I put it into months, 4 months, so here it is going to be 12 months of the second gallery. Okay, this is what is the question all about. Now from here, it is advisable that since none of this is not given and we have to work with a percentage, no absolute values we are working with, right? You go by the option. Say for example, I take the first option. Okay, that is, if I say that the capacity of the second, right? What is the capacity of the second? So if I go by the option, so if I take it this as 70%, right, means the first gallery, if it is 100, the second is going to be 70, right, and 170. Okay, and this is half as much. Okay, so I have to do the half of it, right? So the total is going to be how much? 170, right, and half as large. Okay, so I have to divide up. This is not exactly, so I was supposed to half as large again, right? This is going to be the value of t. It means that t is going to be 170 half 68 85, half large as again. Okay, fine. Now if the option is correct, I have assumed the first option. So I've got the value of first, second and third, all the 3. Then I have to simply put the value, right, and let me see. 4 into first is going to be 100 plus 85 should be equal to 12 into 70. Are both the values going to be the same? If yes, then this option is your answer. If no, go for the second option. Am I clear? Am I clear on this question? Right? That there are 3 galleries in a coal mine. The first 2 galleries were operative and the third gallery comes into the picture, right? The production has half, it increases by 50% of it, right? Okay. So it means what, already the 100% was there. The half of it has been given, contributed by the third gallery. So this is what I have represented over here. And the second one is that the 4-month output of first and the third gallery is equal to the annual output of the second gallery. I am taking the options and I am solving it. Anybody is ready with the correct? See, I'm writing it once again. I understand these questions, as I said that today the questions which I have come up with are, though it is a question, they are the questions of percentage, the notion which is that, okay, percentage de do ma'am and we'll keep on calculating it, right? Here now you can see the way we have to get into the, the skin of the question, I would say that, right? Okay. So there are 3 galleries on the first day, the 2 galleries, right? The first and the second is, right, the half of this is been taken care of, then only together, right, 100% with first and second and 50% of the third, right, third has been contributed. Okay, so you have to understand this thing over here in this fashion. Second option, second equation which is given is that the output of the first and the third of 4 months, first and third, is equal to annual output of the second. All right, the ratio is of second to the first. So if I take it 70%, the 70% means what? The percentage of the second gallery to the first is 70%. So it means that if I am taking first as 100, first gallery is producing 100, then the second gallery is producing 70. If I take both these values, I am getting the value of T as, if I put it in equation 1, if I put it in the equation 1, I am getting the value of T as 85. If this option is correct, then it should satisfy by putting all the values in the second equation. It must satisfy my second equation. Okay, but it is not. So, let's move on to the next option. I will go for 60. Okay, so then in that case, right, the third gallery is going to be 100 plus 60 ka half, that is going to be 80. So, 4 into 100 plus 80 is going to be equal to 12 into 60. Okay, fine. So, 4 into 12, 6, 720 and 4 into 180. 36, 72, 780. So, here you can see that they both are getting satisfied and hence answer C. Option C is the correct answer. Aditya, now is it clear there? Is this question clear now? Right? Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Now you can feel it, right? Feel the heat of percentage. है ना? Chalo, let's move on to the next question. Yes, 90 seconds. Let's focus on the question number 9. Thirty seconds left. Yes. So we are done. Answer ready? Okay, let's see. So in an election, 3 candidates A, B and C get, right? A gets 50% more votes than B. A also beats C by 18,000 votes. If it is known that B gets 5 percentage points more votes than C, find the number of voters in the voting list. Okay, fine. So I'm writing here something and you have to correct me. Okay, where I am wrong. Fine. So there are 3 people in the election, candidates. A gets 50% more votes than B. Okay, fine, alright. A also beats C by 18,000. So the difference I am writing over here is 18,000. So that I write all the values. If it is known that B gets 5% points more votes than C. So if C is getting C number of votes, can I say that B is getting, can I write this thing as 1.05 C? Am I correct here? Yes, you have to respond to this first. Am I correct here? Yes or no? Because this is the catch of the entire question. What happened? All gayab? Have I written this statement correctly? Why, Amitesh, you are so diplomatic over here? Maybe not. Oh, 1.0 is 5%. So it should be 5 by 100. So it is going to be 0.05. No, friends, I am wrong over here because as you thought, most of the people will think the same way. And the catch is, if it is known that B gets 5 percentage point more votes than C, okay, it means that if C is getting the C votes, B is getting, right, say if I would have assumed 100, right, he is getting 5%. So he is getting 5 votes more. If I am assuming the total number of votes to be 100, okay, and if C is getting C votes, then B is getting 5% more of 100 than C. It is not 1.05 of what C is getting. I hope I have made the point very clear, right? So this is what is there. So now I can write everything in terms of C, right? C plus 5, C plus 5 and C, and the total of all this should have been equal to 100, right? And when I solve this thing, when I solve this entire expression, I am getting the value of C as 25. Okay, so if the value of C is 25, right, then how much B? So, and all this is because I have assumed 100 as a value, right, 100 as a percentage, or you take it 100. So, C is getting 25, B is getting 30 and A is getting 45. Correct? Fine. Then we can use now this in terms of percentage. What will be the difference between the percentage difference of A and C? 20%, because 45 minus 25 will be 20%. So can I say that 20% of something is 18,000, right? So what is going to be the total number of votes? And now I have the answer. Was it clear to everyone? Right? So the catch point was here, writing, the words which B was getting. Alright? Okay. So now you can do this question very easily. Let's move on to the next question. Right? After doing so many questions, this is, what I would say, a reliever, right? Tell me. Ram says it's good 25% cheaper than Shyam and 25% dearer than Bram. Yes, Shivam, correct. Okay, let's focus on question number 10 now. So Ram says it's good 25% cheaper than Shyam and 25% dearer than Bram. How much percent is Bram's goods cheaper than Shyam? Very simple, right? I'm not giving the answer to this question also, okay? I have to just do it. This was just, a reliever, a stress buster question I had given after doing so many heavy questions. I thought, let me give a smile to your face by giving such a question. Okay, fine. We'll move on to the last question for the day. Okay, question number 11. So let's do this question now. I'm giving you 90 seconds for this. You can, if you want, you can use these options also. 30 seconds left. All right. So we are done. Yes, this is again one of the very beautiful questions, because this is a typical question where you need, the concept forming to a level, solving the question, taking a question to a level where you can, use the option. Without that, this would really turn out to be a very tedious question. I'm telling you. Okay, so you can solve it on your own the way you want. I would just show you the shortcut to this, right? See, Harsh receives an inheritance of a certain amount from his grandfather. You could have started with X. Of this, he loses 32.5% in his effort to produce a film, right? And from the balance, a taxi driver stole the sum of 1 lakh that he used to keep in his pocket. Of the rest, he donated 20% to a charity. Further, he purchased a flat in Ganga apartment for 7.5 lakh. He then realizes that he is left only with 2.5 lakh cash of his inheritance. What was the value of his inheritance? So, as I said, you could have gone with the method of X. Otherwise, let's go the backward. 2.5 lakh cash he is having in his hand, right? And he made a purchase of flat of 7.5 lakh. So, in hand he is having 10 lakh, right? Of the rest, he donated 20% to the charity. So, if something is getting decreased by 20% of whatever he is having, it means that he had, 1 by 5. So he had what, 25% of it. So 10 lakh he was having it. So the 20%, 25% of it. So that is 2.5. This is again going to be, this is the catch point of this question. Here I am using the increment decrement ratio concept over here. So as of now, before then charity, he was having total 12.5 lakh. Right? But before that, he had lost 1 lakh in the auto rickshaw. So he was having 13.5 lakh. Okay. This 13.5 lakh, right, should be equivalent to how much? Can I say that 32.5% of the losses? You work on this. I'm not giving you the answer over here because as I said, it is more important how you are framing the equations. Getting it, right? You want to go with the x, keep on subtracting, adding, subtracting, fair enough. You want to go to this, but then you have to be like, okay, is it that 32.5% of the inherited amount is 13.5 lakh or this was lost? So you want to take the rest of the amount, right? That to be 13.5 lakh. This you should be in a position to understand and relate with it. So on this note, right, fine, on this note, I am leaving the, the question because as I said, it's, yes, most of you, as I said, you'll go with the equation, you'll be doing it, right? But if you want to work backward, then you should know this. So it is not, right, that which percentage you have to relate with. So you go ahead with this thing, it can be this thing or it can be even 87.5% of amount left, right, as 13.5 or 32 nikal diya, that is going to be 67.5, not 87, 67.5, right? And then you calculate and you are landing up with the option. Okay, friends. So on this note, I am ending my session over here. I know, friends, the questions which I came up today were a bit heavy in terms of thinking and applying it. But friends, believe me, if you take my previous sessions examples and today's example, I am 100% sure that most of the questions you would be in a position to relate easily and you can you can solve the questions. Okay, because as I said that when we discuss the theory, right, fine, it seems everything to be so simple that yes ma'am, all these things we know, right? But instead of that, when it comes down to solving part of the word problem, there is only one thing where we people get stuck, and that is ma'am, ये हमको strike ही नहीं होता है कि ये question से ये कैसे समझना है. So as I said that the intention with which I am coming for this series of math session now is that let's focus on the word problems. कि word problem में where is the catch point, which are the words, how we interpret that, and hence the equation we form, and accordingly we are landing up with the answer, whether that is correct or not. And at the same time, even if you are not knowing it in advance, after seeing such solutions, it will start clicking to you. Okay, friends. So on this positive note, I end my session over here. Thank you very much. Thank you.